What's up, everybody? It is Sunday dance session number 4. 7. Oh, look at that. I can count. It's 47. We're here today to talk about selling dance lessons. What? Why? Why am I talking about this today? Let's get a seat. Let's take a seat here. Hang out. What's good, Tiny? All right. So, how's y'all's weekend? Pretty good? Pretty chill? How about you, Twitch? How's it going? Let's get this boy down here. Ooh. Pretty. Let's get this bread. Let's unget this bread. No, I'm kidding. Let's get this bread because we're trying to sell dance lessons here, right? How the heck do you do that? What is it like to sell dance lessons? It's pretty wild, right? Pretty crazy. So why am I talking about selling dance lessons when this is a nonprofit? Well, I think this is good advice for those who want to profit off of dance, right? The corporate landscape of selling dance lessons is quite a wild one. Pretty interesting. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But the main reason why I'm talking about selling dance lessons is because I used to be a dance salesman before I started this nonprofit. I used to sell dance to people. Pretty strange idea. Pretty strange approach to really think about how you're providing dance to many other people. Hi, Bree. But the reason why I'm talking about it today specifically is because this weekend, Nikki and I decided to go down to Oceanside for a night, a little getaway, because we were offered about a week or two ago at a Clippers game for this, nothing like a Sunday at noon, that's right. I love that. But yeah, we were at the Clippers game, and we were offered this, package or reward of, hey, you can choose from any of these gifts, which we chose 2 nights and airfare covered, for you to come and check out this tour, right? Now, most of you were like, they're trying to sell you something. That's right, they were. They were trying to sell us something. But you know what? As a previous salesman, I love hearing someone pitch me a sale, right? This one individual, this one lady actually did a great job. Her name is Brittany. She's really cool. Definitely knew the sales landscape, though, in the approach at which she was selling us her product, but also interacting with us and engaging. But the funniest thing to think about is that she did a much better job selling us on this tour and gift than the actual person who gave us the tour. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But yes, we went down to Oceanside and we toured and checked out Welk Resorts. I'm dropping names here, that's right. Welk Resorts, it's actually pretty cool. They sell some really cool packages, and they have a point system where if you purchase into their company or buy a membership of such, the sale was actually pretty terrible, so much that I really don't know the vocab as well, but they're a part of this large end scale of real estate called the Registry Collection. And this is the top tier 1% of best properties, the best locales, all this stuff, and they give us a crazy deal, and then they can only offer it to us today, and the offer stands today, and you have to sign contracts saying that you were offered this already previously, because the state of California only allows them to offer it to you once, and so you have to act on it now, and you have to take the sale, and you just want to make money in a bargain, and oh my god, yeah, that's how most sales go, right? The guy that we had give us a tour, though, was really interesting. He's kind of an interesting fellow. Very hot, cold. He was one of the managers who, I'm not going to name drop, but for him at least. Apparently he wasn't the one supposed to be giving us the tour. And he was like, we were going to reschedule you guys, but since you're down here and all that, I'll decide to give you a tour. Already first red flag. Seems uninterested in giving the tour, but, you just got to have doing it. He's been doing this for 10 years, and so this technically really isn't the thing that he's supposed to be doing, but you started off doing it, didn't you, buddy? So you should know how to sell something. So yeah, we got a nice little tour of everything. I ended up losing my phone at one point. That was cool. What's up, Phil? And yeah, we got to check out some pieces of the property. You know, he seemed pretty nonchalant. We were kind of just talking, right? And as a previous salesperson, I was doing what I've learned at Arthur Murray. It's called specializing. It's pretty cool. That's what my title was, as a specialist. And I thought specializing is a really interesting thing. It's really just asking leading questions and digging into someone's deep, background to further understand them and their motives, their incentives, so that you can potentially find something that they have of interest in what you're selling. And so shout out to Arthur Murray for teaching me about that, especially Miss Lauren Helfer, because she was my direct mentor in most of what I was doing in what was called the new student department, because I specialized in getting randos off the street or anybody who has a slight interest in dance, getting them really into dance. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But to finish my story about Welk Resorts, we took the tour, we got back, they gave us some amenities, they gave us a nice little drink and some snackies. Who doesn't love Starbucks or Garden Salsa Sun Chips? You can't turn that down. We got free food out of this, and we knew we were going to be getting a reward at the end. But we sit down, we're talking about a lot of different things, and Nikki and I are just kind of sitting there just kind of laughing our butts off, because it's like, keeps asking us a lot of questions that we already answered. When you tell someone about how you met, and then later on they're like, yeah, how did you guys meet? So where did you guys meet? It's like, were you just asking just to talk, or were you listening and trying to understand us? Right? I don't know. It's a good question, though. So we keep going, and now this guy is starting to think that we're really we're interested in buying. Because I'm just stoked on life, and I'm always interested in learning about stuff. Just learning how people operate. So yeah, kept going, and then finally got to the end, and he's like, here, we'll sign some paperwork, and you guys can go ahead and start up right now. And then we gave him our objections. Financial objections, time objections, age objections, third-party objections. You name it, we provided it. Why? Because we weren't interested. But more importantly, this guy did not set us up for success or a direct pathway to finding good reasons as to why those objections were frivolous, right? Even when people have objections to something that you're selling, ultimately your goal is to help them to see that those objections will always be there, and that they need to find a different way to prioritize this desire of why they previously came in, right? Or why they previously were even there in the first place. Because it was a great deal that they were offering. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, on average of what we typically would have spent on other things, he was showing us the numbers. And that's a strong technique that they do in sales. They're like, this is what the value is that you're getting out of it, and this is how much you're saving. This is a bargain. You want to act on this now because this is the only time that we can offer this, giving you an urgency to want to sell or purchase, I mean. So yeah, bottom line, end of the story is we did not buy it. But we did get our little reward, so we'll see what happens with that, because there are always catches to it. But I know we have to schedule the flights or something like that during the week and blah, 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 blah. But now, let's talk about really what went wrong during that whole experience and how that relates to selling dance lessons. Number one, man was uninterested. If someone's uninterested on doing the job, and when it comes to sales, you shouldn't be doing the job. Because already, how is the customer or consumer supposed to be interested in buying something when the person who's selling it isn't interested in selling it in the first place? That just completely just demolishes any real prospect of investing or purchasing. The next thing. This man was doing a whole lot more talking to get through the moment, the sale, than he was listening. Huge problem. When as someone who's selling you something has to ask you the same question 2 or 3 times that you have already answered, you feel unheard, you feel like this person's not actually interested in you, and you really start to question, well, are they really hearing what I'm wanting to purchase or what I'm wanting out of this, right? So then you start feeling like you're not being sold the thing that you actually want. And then, lastly, the hot and cold. You can't let yourself down in the middle of a sale when you think it's starting to go south. You got to find new avenues, new ways. That's it. Next one. really, my experience in sales has only truthfully been, and with dance sales, has been with Arthur Murray. Outside of that, I'm still been teaching dance lessons to some individuals, still selling myself as a dancer to really procure and provide dance lessons for certain people that I'm dancing or teaching right now. And I'll tell you how that works kind of break down in a broken down fashion, right? But this is a nonprofit. Why are we talking about selling dance lessons? Well, as a nonprofit, you really do have to sell yourself in a much different way. In the sense and understanding and explaining what the costs are and what they are purchasing and why they are receiving such great value out of what they're investing in. What's up, Nick? Nice to see you, buddy. Hope you're having a great Sunday. We're talking about selling dance lessons. But yeah, nonprofit versus profit. Really, when it comes to selling dance or dance lessons in a profit environment, you are really selling the ultimate goal of what that person's wanting to purchase, right? So you are trying to find what they are interested in and what they would want potentially out of said dance lessons and show them how that is possible through different avenues or really similarities between activities that they can do, right? So let's say someone wants to come into really work on their social communication skills. Well, you can sell that in dancing because really body language is a whole other form of communication. And learning how you can move in a certain way that's unlike your own movement can help you to further understand how other people think, move, and feel, thereby giving you some sort of like synthetic or coincidental, or I guess I should say matched feeling or understanding and empathize with however that movement is. It's kind of a strange way of thinking about it. And so it's very similar to socializing at a party or something like that, especially in ballroom dancing or dancing in a large room. You have to communicate. It's not only just speaking your own language through movement, but it's also understanding and listening to how other people are moving. Jersey's looking sicker. That's right, buddy. I'm stoked on them. They're going to be sweet. Y'all haven't seen these jerseys yet? They're in the chats or they're on our page now. Getting those squared away. And we're going to try to get the names and everything like upholstered on the sides or something like that. Make them personalized because we might be selling them later. Now, so that was really back to that topic. That is selling dance lessons in a profit environment but versus a nonprofit. What I've learned, obviously I'm not an expert in this, is that you really have to find a way to demonstrate or help people to understand what they are donating towards or accessing is for the greater good, but in an education purpose or entertainment, right? So by having people donate, how we're having to sell ourselves is really in the sense that, this is really for arts enrichment, right? For the community, for the individual, for the viewer. And so it's culturally significant. That's what you're selling, really. And that serves a multitude of purposes, whether that's exercise and physical activity, arts education, or, therapeutic purposes, which are all something that can be sold particularly in a profit environment. But nonprofit versus profit, you're trying to find a very particular reason at which the consumer is trying to access or receive in common goods, right? Or receive service. Whereas in a nonprofit environment, you're talking about the greater good of all. And also the multitude of reasons why it's good for, like I said, performer, viewer, or donor, really. It's very charitable. So, moving on. The upside and downside between selling dance lessons or just being a dance salesman. Because it's a tough business, it's really awful in the sense that no one wakes up in the morning saying, I need to dance. This is something that my previous executives really drilled into me. If you think about and you refer to, these psychological studies like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Essentially, and I got my fancy paper here, Maslow's hierarchy of needs goes a little as such. We got a pyramid, and there's different levels of needs, right? So at the bottom level of this pyramid, we got your basic needs. Like this is like water, we need a house, right? We want shelter, we need food, we need clothing. These are your essential things that you wake up every day needing to feel comfortable, secure, and able to access and further look into other things. Now, as you progress up this pyramid, what you'll really find is that it starts to move away from more physical things to more theoretical, social, intangible things. If that makes any sense. You're moving from really tangible to less tangible things and what's really important. And so, dance typically isn't on the lower level or tier of Maslow's. In fact, it isn't. It's usually a little bit higher up. Can dance be tangible? Absolutely. But dance as a practice or as a good or service is a little less tangible for most people because, just let's be honest, in society today, dance is looked at as inaccessible, really. And I'm just talking about my personal experience. I'm not talking about the round of the world, but many people say they can't dance. They like to dance, but they can't. Or I don't really dance. Or I'm a dancer, and I don't dance. We've talked about this before. But the important thing is that it's not as culturally significant as it used to be around the world for so many different people. More so in these progressive, newer environments, or first world countries. It's lost a lot of its impact in a social atmosphere. So selling dance to someone is strange because, let's say someone's selling you food. You're either going to want that food or you don't want that food. Same with dance, right? But many people, a lot of people don't look at food in the sense that like, oh, okay, that looks good, or maybe I can't eat it or I can't eat it. It's mostly whether they just want it or not. A lot of people want to dance. They just don't know how or think that they're unable to. Or it's just not something that they could ever imagine themselves doing, is what I mean to say. So how would really selling dance to someone who doesn't want to dance or can't imagine themselves dancing? You have to find those different activities or moments in their own history or their own interests to link them. Dance is very mathematical. Dance is very physical and active. Dance is very social. Dance is very therapeutic. Like I said, these are all these different areas that you can really extrapolate and draw on to really, to culture. That's right, Phil. But yeah. That's the most significant thing. I don't really think I need to go down that rabbit hole of that, but I'll give an example. So most oftentimes when I was teaching ballroom lessons and dance and selling dance lessons, most oftentimes when a couple would come in, one partner would really want to dance and the other ones just got convinced and is like, I'm here to support my partner. And that person is usually the hardest person to sell on dance, especially when it comes at a price, right? Because as an artist, you need to get paid well. You got bills, right? You have a program you have to sell. You have services and amenities you have to sell. Maybe you're selling a brand name. Maybe you're selling, the atmosphere that you're creating, or environment too. The quality of studio and blah, 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 blah. Most oftentimes how I would get people to consider or even think about the idea that dance is possible for them is breaking everything down into more tangible instances or experiences, right? So you find out what they think they can't do and you show them in small, minute ways that they can possibly do it. Possibly, right? Not even that they can do it, because sometimes they're like, I didn't really do that great or that well, but that it's the possibility lies there. But what I've really found that's really challenging when it comes to my experience when it comes to selling dance is that most dance companies aren't actually teaching how to dance at the end of the day on an introductory program. I'm just being honest. You're usually spending those times and those lessons to get to know your client and what you want. Because I know from my own experience, it's really easy to teach dance in 4 lessons in a certain format to make it as simple as possible and as accessible and tangible as possible for them to even think about the possibility of them wanting to continue, rather than just spending time on getting to know your client and telling them reasons why they need to, but also show them that they can dance. I think sometimes that gets lost really easily. So the upsides, like I was getting on earlier, to being a dance salesman is that you get to help people to see the importance of dance in everyday life. You get to help people to realize that, yes, it is possible. It is affordable in some cases. And that it is something that they should invest in. So many people, for example, music can be somewhat tangible in the sense of like buying an album or a vinyl. You can't really buy a dance, right? Like you can't go into a store and be like, I want that, as an art form. Or even theater, sometimes you can, you could buy videos or stuff like that, but it's somewhat intangible since it's not really a physical art form that can be handled, really, right? It really takes each dancer or each body to participate in order to be tangibly within the boundaries of what dance is. So there's a lot of cool upsides with that, but then the downsides. Dance lessons can be so dang expensive. So expensive. Right? Because first you got to pay for the time. You got to pay for the skill. You got to pay for the amenities, the environment, the studio, the flooring, everything like that, the quality of, service. And so what's really a huge downside with selling dance lessons is that not everybody can afford dance lessons. But dance is for everyone, right? That's such a huge problem. That's such a huge conflict. Sometimes the hardest part about selling dance lessons is you'll have moments where you are having to sell dance or you're having to sell the price. And that sounds really weird, right? But what I mean to say when I break that down further is that some people, you have to convince them that you're selling them dance in a new future, in a new activity, hobby, program, something that they can involve themselves in and how they can actually dance and how this is possible. But then there are clients who love to dance, who just love to dance, but cannot seem to comprehend or make sense of the price at which it takes to have dance lessons. Right? So as a dance salesman, how do you break that down for them to understand, okay, this is why it costs so much? Because that's just the reality of it. It is, right? When you go to see a show, whether that be a baseball game, professional baseball game too, right? If you're a professional dance salesman, you're also offering services that are very similar to a professional show, professional lessons of something, right? The cost of going to even an NBA game or going to your favorite show like Hamilton costs a pretty penny. And the lessons to access something like that too and participate in it are also very expensive. Because we got bills to pay. So to break it down, here's how I typically do it for my students. You have an hourly rate or 15-minute rate, right? However, whatever time rate it is, you have to figure out what you believe you're worth. Look at the competition, look at other offers, what other people are doing out there in the world, and figure out how you can not undercut those prices, but match yourself to what products and services they are doing at your best capability, and find ways that you can cut down so that you can make your lessons more affordable. Right? Why choose your own? So for example, right now I'm teaching dance lessons as my own sole entity outside of this nonprofit. Because some people really want more professional styled lessons and they're willing to pay for it. So how do I typically send and show somebody that it is worth something like that versus just hanging out and waiting for Sunday dance sessions like this? Well, like I said, hourly rate. The next thing is your skill and expertise. That comes with the price. Your professional training, your experience, how your successes, your achievements, your accomplishments, your milestones, things that set you apart from the competition. That adds value to how your hourly rate will change, and all that. That's something that compounds, right, over time with every year that you're teaching. The next thing is how many dances are you teaching? Like how many different things does this customer want, right? Because if someone, let's say I'm making a year plan for somebody, right? And I'm trying to give them an hourly rate. I'm going to throw a number out there, $80 for an hour. That person has to pay $80 an hour, which is like $1. I think it's like $1.30, somewhere around there, for every minute that they have with you. When you're thinking about that, let's say someone just wants to learn a line dance. Then you just keep it to that because it's just one dance. But what if that person has a goal over the next year to learn a line dance, but also salsa, or maybe crumping, and then maybe something else random, right? You have to take those all into consideration because of like at what speed and what capacity you're showing them, and what different backgrounds you're reaching from, and add that up and show them how long that will take for them to master that one skill or style for a certain amount of time, and give them an estimate too. What's up, Lil Bells? And then on top of that too, talk about technique. What are the different things that you're breaking down for them? Are you going to demonstrate and help them to understand this dance or style at a basic level? Or are you going to take them to an adept level, or even an advanced level? Do they want to become a master of this style? Because that takes time. And so when you're selling dance lessons too, you also have to be realistic with them about their goals and how long it takes for them to build muscle memory, and how long-term dance as a hobby and an activity takes to really master. Right? So you add all of these different things up. You find out how and which way you want to use as each segment as a multiplier to have the final outcome of this is how much. Boom, diddy. Sorry, I got distracted. I love that. What's up, Arkiza Brevs? Nice to see you. How's the Slug Brevs doing? You guys gonna be opening up any new Pokemon packs? Love to see it. Back on topic. Essentially, you want to add all those multipliers up and see what your final, price is. Always room for negotiation. But you also have to make sure that it's fair for how you're selling yourselves, and for multiple reasons. Ethical reasons, but also just like people talk, right? I don't want to be specializing in really helping someone else out for $65 when I'm asking this person to pay me $80 and there's no other goods and service being exchanged except for just because I know them, right? Let's say there's goods and stuff, services bartered too, right? You can always negotiate with, other services too other than just money. But that's essentially how I add up the pricing and all of that whenever I'm selling dance to somebody. Some of the most important things that I have learned that I've really kind of implicated, or at least, like nodded towards in this episode, is really just the idea that when you're selling dance to someone, you're selling them a dream. And that's the most challenging part, is that it's kind of hard to sell hopes and dreams. Because they're intangible, right? You're selling someone, you're saying, hey, in 2 years, you might be able to do this. I can get you there. I know I can. I'm confident. I will put my foot down and say that over the next 2 years, if you stay consistent with your lessons and that you follow what I'm saying, I can get you to this level. But that also requires the initiative and the practice and the work on your end as well, which is really hard because it enters this new realm of trust. Do you trust that person to actually get you to that goal that they are selling and promising you? Can the person selling that dance lesson trust in their student that they will follow through and continue the work that they ultimately should be taking care of when it's being, the recipient of dance lessons? It's super stressful, right? And you never really can guarantee or sell and say that I can make you a master of this dance style in this amount of time, because let's think about it. Reality, it's just like, you can't make it to every single day of work. There are multiple, there could be some physical ailment that comes upon them, or mental ailment too, emotional ailment that reduces the person's ability to take a dance lesson or to follow through with their normal routine of taking a lesson, or just capability even in that instant of taking a dance lesson. It's a weird dynamic, right? Because when you're selling dance to someone, you're selling the future. We'll bring it back to that idea of selling food to someone. You pay money down, you receive good immediately. Or service, right? When you're selling dance to someone, you're selling them the future, which is super bizarre. How do you sell the future to someone? It's a really important question to ask. If you're watching this, think about it. Think to yourself, how do you sell the future to someone? So keep that question in mind. We're going to bring it all the way back to how this episode started and talk about tips and tricks on how to sell something to someone, even if you don't know how. So bringing it back to the top of this episode, we were talking about the implication of what activities I was doing this weekend. We were at Welk Resorts, and we were being sold a membership, right? We were on a tour. It was like one of those things where if you come out this, you'll get this reward, and we're going to do this, that, and everything else for you. But there's a catch. I think one of the hardest things about selling the future to someone is how the hell can you sell the future to someone when you don't listen to what their needs and wants are? I think that was one of the biggest red flags and things that went wrong with that man's sale with us. If you keep asking me the same questions and you keep asking me all these things because, it's maybe you weren't listening or just didn't understand or just didn't take note of it, how can I trust you to sell me the future? You're not listening to me now. Will you listen to me all the way up to the future or up into that moment? Will you listen to what I want now versus what I want in the future? Because there were some huge moments of information that I was trying to give to the salesman to understand what I wanted, to see that could he potentially give me what I want now or in the future. But this man had the audacity to just go forward with his sales pitch and treat us like a normal married couple, as if we have 5 kids and we're 40 years old and we have an accrued savings account that's ginormous and we can just throw money left and right, and that we need vacation and we don't take vacation enough, and we're the nation that takes vacation the least, and this is important. You guys have to take care of this right now because this is the best deal. And look, this is what you would have spent if you didn't partner with us, because this is what you're willing to spend on vacation over multiple days or over a certain period of time. And look how that compounds over years and years and years, 40 years at such, right? And how interest rates can fluctuate and how that can change. And then he breaks it down. This is what you would be spending if you didn't join with us over 40 years, with interest compounding. This is what you would spend if you were to act right now today, which is like a fourth of the price. This is what you would get if you were to join us later on in life. But here's the catch. If you were to join later on in life, you are also missing out on a huge deal by not joining us today. In the state of California, we're only allowed to give you this offer today, which is not really true. Not to the fullest, right? There's a lot of different things that could be legally parsed out of that. And so one of the most important things, just to give from my own example of what I was trying to explain to him, is that I am not a man of high luxury. I mean, I do like my jewelry now. I do like having nicer things. He was asking us questions like, Let's say if you were to buy some donuts, and one vendor sells one donut for $1 and the other sells 12 donuts for $1, which one you're going for? Obviously, you're going to want to go for the $12 just off those base facts, but we could also talk about quality, quality of ingredients, quality of presentation, the ambiance, the environment. What other elements to that product or service are they selling that could change your mind to want to go to the single donut for $1 versus a dozen for $1? But that's just basic economics. It was frivolous. There's no point and there's no reason whatsoever to even bring up those things, because ultimately the information I was telling him is that I think it's really important to go and vacation and experience baseline. Hold that thought. Slug Revs has moved to soccer. Oh my gosh, the future is what it's all about. Teaching is for the future. We work for the next generation. Boom diddy shaka. Boom diddy shaka. Is that a new account you're running? That's sick though, yo. If y'all don't know, Slug Revs are moving on to soccer and sports education, it looks like. I salute to y'all. I am also a fellow educator now. Great job, y'all. Super cool. So glad that you're still running it, and best of luck and good fortune to you guys. And maybe we can collab on something soon. That would be super cool. Winding it back. This guy was talking about selling us the registry collection that they're a part of is a part of the 1%, and you can get a 5-bedroom hotel versus a 1-bedroom for the same price. And you can get the best of the best in the top tier, and blah, 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 blah. But he didn't sell us what we wanted. I don't go out on vacation wanting to get a 5-bedroom hotel. I'm there for the experience, even if it's bad. I'd much rather have a terrible bad experience because it's great memories versus something that's just so luxurious and I never will remember it. Or have cherished memories of it, if I should say that, right? Luxury gets boring after a while. It's just like they say, money can make someone happy in the moment, but long term, I don't know. La Archivist. Yeah, soccer boys, soccer brevs, football brevs. And as a previous salesman, just to kind of talk about that man's sale to me, I honestly was just having fun with it. I was trying to give him all the reasons and great information for him to sell to me. I was giving him so much good info, and I was like, can y'all sell this to me? But he was just sticking to his shtick, wasn't listening, and wasn't actually selling me a goal or the future or what I want. He was selling me the dream of what typically everyone else wants. And you're not going to get your niche customers or the people that fall outside of the vetted group that you already put in to actually sell them that product and service that you are usually selling. Best tips and tricks. Final moments of this, because we're wrapping this up. I'm talking a lot. I can go on for days about dance sales. Only earth signs can handle the wealth. Ooh. I don't know how I feel about that. That's an interesting take. I know a lot of Leos that love the wealth. Same with some, what else? Some Geminis. There's also some Aquarius too. Interesting take though. I like it. I love you, Phil. But yes, tips and tricks. Number 1. You shouldn't, as a salesperson, you shouldn't be doing most of the talking. I know that sounds weird, right? You're selling something, so you have to explain it to somebody. You should be doing a lot of the questioning, is how I should phrase this. The person you're selling to, the consumer, should be doing most of the talking. People love to talk about themselves. People want to talk about themselves all the time. Just like me. Just like you watching. Everybody loves to talk about themselves. Ask leading questions. And if they ask you that, give a simple answer and move forward and continue to extrapolate off of what they're saying, Every question you have can lead to another question within that field or contrasting field. I kid you not, it's one of the easiest ways. It's literally called specializing. It's just, I literally walked away knowing this man's life. And I feel like this guy only found out that I was married with, new wealth, new job. Guess I was maxing out on Twitch. Sorry, guys, if it's getting real loud. Ooh, I'm going to put it down here. But yeah. Listen. Really, like, take mental notes as they're talking about, right? So, like, let's say I'm going to give an example right now of a couple that I've had in the past, and then I want you to take a moment. It's going to be an exercise to think about what are the important things that are from this if you're wanting to sell dance lessons. Here's a great exercise. Bonnie and Clyde, we'll use that. Bonnie and Clyde are a couple who are in their 40s. They've been married for 20 years, and they have different hobbies. Bonnie loves to knit and garden. Clyde loves watching basketball. Clyde also loves working on trucks. I know, it's very stereotyped, but like this is legitimately a couple I had. So Bonnie and Clyde are in their 40s. They've been married for 20 years, and they have completely separate hobbies, and they feel like they're getting out of touch with their friends and their social lives individually and together, but also with each other. They feel like they're drifting apart. So they want to bring the romance back in. Now, this is more of the ballroom-esque thing, but this can be simulated in other scenarios as well, with individuals or non-couples too, or family members. But what are the most important things about what I just shared with you? How can you sell those people dance lessons? Kind of talked about a hint. I talked about a little bit earlier in a different example. Give your moment. Let's pull out the paper. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. So out of everything that I shared on that, here are the different notes of what's important. Hi, Johanna. Nice to see you. You should be getting your jersey soon, too, by the way. I don't know if you're going to be in LA around the 20th, but yeah, by the way, everyone, we have a Friendsgiving coming up on the 20th. Y'all want to come join? Hit it up. We got a Facebook event. But anyways, important information about Bonnie and Clyde and how you can sell them. Well, first, their names are Bonnie and Clyde. You got to know your clients' names. If you don't, they feel disrespected. They are in their 40s. Been married for 20 years. It's a long time. Different hobbies. Social struggles. Or socializing struggles. One hobby requires, they both have hobbies that are mechanical, right? So the hobbies that are mechanical will have a B and a C. Mechanical versus entertainment. So a mechanical, like, a tangible, hands-on activity, right? Gardening for Bonnie. For Clyde, it's working on cars, right? Entertainment. Clyde loves watching, I think it was basketball games or baseball games. He just loves sports, right? Sports, entertainment. Now, Bonnie also loves to knit and sew, right? So that's more of a mechanical hobby and activity. Right? So where on this chart can we find ways or things that they have that are very in similar interest to connect? I know this is backwards, I'm sorry. But for y'all, it's a little different. Right? What are things that we can connect on this? Well, they both love very mechanical styled hobbies, right? Things that require physical labor and work. Never heard of it. That's so funny. So those are the things that they both have interest in, right? That are like, they're direct, that they share with you. Like, this is what they like. Whatever people share with you, I'm not kidding. Even if it's like something they often communicate or talk about, those are like their deep interests that they're comfortable sharing with, right? So that's something that you can talk about most often, right? So if I were to sell dance lessons to this couple, obviously one, like I said, they want to get the romance started back again. Dance lessons require huge level of communications. Well, thanks, George Miller, but I'm doing okay, man. It's not about the views or the money. We're having a good time. We got a good offer, but sell me on it, buddy. George Miller, sell me on why I need to go to streamskill.pro/en. English, I'm assuming. But yeah. Sell me on it. Maybe I'll do it. They both want to bring them romance back. Dancing requires communication, understanding, listening to each other. Couples and people love that. That's what they want. That's usually where marriages and things go wrong. Right? So you can help them to find new ways of doing that. Next one. 40s. They have different hobbies. You know how hard that is to have a relationship but different hobbies? Y'all don't like doing the same thing together? Well, guess what? Dance lessons are going to give both of you a similar interest in hobby together. You will finally have a new hobby to share. You know, maybe she does do her gardening and knitting and sewing, and Clyde does his cars and watching the game. But you two will have the nights that you can dedicate to each other to reignite that spark and interest and actually come and dance and learn a whole new skill and hobby, right? You're never too old to learn something new. Socializing struggles. You'll be in an environment where you have to communicate with someone completely new and different. And you'll have to listen to not only each other, but someone else in that same situation and have it be amicable. Dance lessons can provide that to you because if you can't do that, then you can't dance. And if I can show you how to dance, I can show you how to do that. Aside from all of that, like I was mentioning, mechanical hobbies. Just keep that interest and those interests in mind, those hobbies, because dancing can be very mechanical. It's hands-on, right? It's laborious. It's physical. Those are things that they can connect to. So as you're starting to teach dance lessons, once you finally sold them that dance program, refer back to those hobbies and instances or analogies that align with those activities. That's what will continue the sale going forward as you keep teaching dance lessons. That was that exercise. Hope you guys liked it. Anyways, do you guys have any questions, any thoughts, queries, comments? Leave them in the comments or DM us. We have Friendsgiving coming up on the 20th of this month. Hit us up if you want to join. We have All House Fest coming up next year. Jersey's coming out soon. I hope this was beneficial to whoever was watching. Nice piece of Sunday entertainment. For those who did join, thank you so much for joining us. Love you guys. Appreciate you. And that has been Sunday Dance Session number 47. George Miller, I love you too, Tiny. Woohoo! Bada bing, bada boom. See you next week for number 48. What's up? Bye bye, Liza, Nikki, and Tiny, and Chance.